Welcome again everyone to this part of this UI/UX design class, and today we'll be talking about wireframes. You might have been hearing that I talk about wireframes in some of our previous classes. So now in this class we'll explain what that wireframe really is. So let's dig into it. So what are wireframes? The wireframe is a simple visual guide used in UI/UX design to represent the layout and structure of a web page or app screen, in which it focuses on functionality and placement of elements such as buttons, menus, images, and text without using colors, images, or detailed styling. So this place just trying to tell us about what wireframe is. Although I'm still going to give you some visual aids on what that we see it by yourself on how this wireframe is. So this wireframe is just like probably if you've seen a website or a app, you've actually seen how the app looks. So before that website or app was actually built, it went through a process called wireframing. And well, that wireframing is just like the skeleton of our interface, or you can perhaps think of it as a blueprint that helps designers, developers, and stakeholders understand the user interface flow and content hierarchy before moving on to high fidelity design. So this particular this wireframe, it talks about it needs to contain things like buttons, menus, images, text, but at the same time, when we are talking about these buttons, menus, images, they are just like placeholders. Placeholders. So these placeholders, they are like things that are supposed to be used in place of something else. For example, if you want to if you want to like create a button on a wireframe, which you can just probably draw a rectangle, the shape of the button. You can just draw a rectangle and put a dash there, although you still understand what I'm saying. And also this wireframe is just like a simple sketch. For example, if you want to draw something, if you want to like probably draw a rough sketch of something, you can just sometimes you just need to carry a paper aside and then just just draw it, but that is not actually what you want. So then the rough sketch that you've actually drawn, then you cannot draw a neater version of it in another place. That is how this that is how this wireframe is also. So it's just like a blueprint that helps designers. So whenever it comes to that wireframe, so it is the way the wireframe is, so it's going to be like very easy for the designers to continue building it. And this high fidelity design is just like the design itself, just like the design itself. So instead of just cracking your brain or thinking of um just jumping into the high fidelity design, just thinking of what to do and so on, it's better if you should create a wireframe first. So and remember this thing, it can be referred to as a skeleton. So you see how it can be referred to as a skeleton here. Or perhaps let me use this example. Let me use this example. So if you have to look at the skeleton of a human, you will know this is a human. If you have to look at the skeleton of a dog, you will of course know this is a dog. If you have to look at the skeleton of a horse, you will know that this is a horse. So then, if, so then, because it actually have some specific qualities that you see, that you know that this specific type of animal. So similarly to this wireframe, so it's just like the skeleton in the sense that it's going to contain the inner something. It's just going to contain things, just going to contain some things. Or this can contain a placeholder for images, text, but it won't actually be the exact thing that would be there. So, and it can either be done with writing materials such as paper, or pencil or pen, or UI UX design tools such as Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD, Miro, FigJam, and so on. So I want to show you some examples of how um, a wireframe can look like when drawing it with a pencil. But although this image is kind of blurry, but if you have to look at it very well, you will see this place is the home section, and this is actually the home page rather. This is the home page, and you can see um there are actually some things. You see there is something like, for example, let's say you want to actually just write jargon, you can see it here, and you can see that this person actually wrote something, but he just wanted to show that he wants to write something. And then if you can look at this other place, it's just like a search bar, and then this place that has little squares, that has little squares with x sign um diagonally, like parallel lines diagonally. So these ones represent images. So although I'm still going to explain more about it. So let's take a look at this one that can be done. Let's look at this one that can be done in a UI UX design. So this is actually Miro. Although this Miro can't be used to build high fidelity designs like quality designs, it's just used to like draw the rough sketch of a landing page, an app, a website, and so on. So um if you are familiar with how a website looks, this circle here is just trying to represent that here this is logo, these are the navigations. This one now, just like this, okay, this one that contains a large rectangle with diagonal lines crossing each other, it means an image. You can also see that now, you can also see that there will be an image here. So if probably a designer or a developer that now want to make this into a high fidelity design, you can now do this way. You, this is what like will guide you into what you're building. So you know that yes, at this particular point, this is where we put logo, this is where we put the navigation button, this is where it's going to put an image, it's going to put an image here, it's going to put the text probably the product. These lines are just like what it's going to write in some of the content that it's going to write. And then you can see this small rectangle that has something written there, CTA. It actually refers to call to action. Remember, CTA refers to call to action, and it means button. It's just an action that you want your user to take on. So you can see here that this place too also refers. You also know that yes, in this website you put an image there, and you also and um inside that image you can also write text, and then so you can also use that to know how you are going to work on your website. Now let's look at types of wireframes. There are actually three types of wireframes. So the first one is low fidelity wireframes, and this one are the most basic. They are usually simple sketches or grayscale layouts that show the structure and placement of elements without any design details. They are used in early stages to quickly explore layout ideas. So from this place, this low fidelity design, it's just a perfect example of this image that I showed you earlier, or this. These are low fidelity designs. Why? Because it just contains simple sketches or simple drawings just to show the structure of what you will place of the elements that you place, the way you place the elements and stuff like that. So although this is something that is very easy to just take you a couple of minutes to do, let's just say you actually want to design a website or app, and then an idea comes to your head, just like flash on your head, then you can just probably carry a pen or pencil, then you just quickly draw how you want the website to be. So that is how that low fidelity wireframes. Instead of putting text, instead of writing what you actually want to write, you can just use line, just like this. So you know that okay, then when I'm doing something like this, I will just in in place of this line, I'm just going to put a real text there while building the real website. So this other part, the second type of wireframe is what they call mid fidelity wireframe. They are more refined, unlike the low fidelity wireframes, and they provide a clearer sense of layout and spacing, often with placeholder text and elements, but although they still avoid using colors or branding. So this low fidelity wireframe, it avoids it avoids colors, it avoids using text, it avoids it avoids using like images and so on. But while this mid fidelity wireframe, it can contain text, but this text will not be the original text that you are going to use while building the design. There is actually something that you can use, just like a placeholder text that you just want to put there for the main time until you get a real content text that you are going to use. And there is actually a template that you can use, something that they call lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum. It's actually, I think it's actually contains some gibberish italic words that you can just use in place of what you want to use. So it's although it still avoids colors and branding. So at the probably after I've showed you all the types of wireframes, how I'm going to show you how each wireframe looks. So then high fidelity wireframes. Now comes the high fidelity wireframes, and they are the most detailed. They closely resemble the final design and may include real content, images, and precise styling. They are useful for presenting to stakeholders or handing off to developers. So this high fidelity wireframe, it can even be handed off to the developer just like that, because why? It is very detailed, unlike the mid fidelity and low fidelity wireframes. They include real content, real images, and sometimes they even include the real text that you are supposed to use there. It contains the real call to action, the real text that is supposed to be in the button as well. So it contains it's just like a real design. So that's what this high fidelity wireframe is. Now look at the difference between these three wireframes. all these TV all these TV app screens, they are the same. They are the same. But what's the difference? This one by the left is a low fidelity wireframe. This one at the middle is a mid fidelity wireframe, and the last is the high fidelity wireframe. Look at the difference. Instead of using um a real logo like this, he just went on to he just went on to because the logo will definite, although you can see that this logo here is actually a text, but this text is actually um will actually be downloaded after this has been edited and stuff like that into a logo. So this logo will come in picture. So that's why you can see that this is actually used as an image. I've actually said earlier that if you can see a rectangle or square that has these diagonal lines crossing each other, making an X in the middle, it is actually used to represent an image that they will later put. So this rectangle is actually showing the size of the logo that they will use. It's actually showing the size. While this one is actually showing that yes, there will be an image at the middle. There will be an image here. And these lines are showing that there will be a text. While this button is just like the idea that you know that yes, this one that in this place that you are going to, just like in a app, that you are just going to scroll, see how the app is, a brief review about the app before you log in or sign up. So now you can see the city button here, what you want them to do original. So then you can see the mid fidelity wireframe. Unlike this one, it shows that yes, you want to use a logo. It makes this square more it makes it looks more better. It also puts this lorem ipsum text there, so that knowing that yes, this is how the text is going to look like, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And then this city, although sometimes it can even contain what the city itself, the call to action, probably like here now you can say continue. So now this high fidelity, unlike all of this, it uses the real logo. It uses the real image that is going to be used. It uses the real text, and everything here is just real. So this one is just like I said, that you should remember that this is just like a skeleton. This skeleton is trying to show you that yes, you are trying to build the app, and you want the app to just have something like this, and that's when you can now build something like this. So let me show another image for you to see. So if I should ask now, which one is the low fidelity, the mid fidelity, and the high fidelity? If you were to choose the first one as the low, second as the mid, and the third as the high, you are definitely correct. Why? Because just like that one, the logo here was used as a placeholder image, and then there's an image that is supposed to be used there. So low um this low fidelity wireframe is just like when a sharp idea come into your mind and you are trying to work it out, you are trying to like put it out, just put it out so that when you are less busy, you just work on it. So and then this one, it represents text that you use, one represents the button, and probably another button that you want to be there. So the mid fidelity, it contains some things like images, the text and so on. So this one now actually has real logo, the image that you want to use, and then the text that you want to use, and so on. So this is what we've got to learn about wireframes today. So um stay tuned for the next class.